What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Hey. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was trying to do something and I lost track of time. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday to you all. Let me come in and say hi to the people. We're going to go ahead and get this party started. First of all, I want to say thank you to the people who have sent things from my wish list. I'm going to put the link to my wish list in the chat. I'm only going to put it up for another couple of days. I want to thank everybody who has chosen to donate to my classroom for this school year. Again, it is needed and much appreciated. I did do a video of unboxing, and it'll upload later on today, um, of the things that I already got. It was actually a package waiting for me when I left to go to work this morning. So it's always exciting to get packages, you guys. So thank you. All right, let me get into the things. All right, what's going on? El Ted, you said maybe that's just my side. What's wrong? Hold on, let me go back up and read. What's up, Nicole? She said she's the first one to hit the like button. I appreciate that. Hey, Corey, Lemon Kush, Amber, Below, Natalie, Brandon. Hey, Charlie, El Michelle. Hey, what's up, Cookie? Love Jones. Hey, Nikki B. Hey, P. Xavier. Just sent my people over. Thank you. I'm sorry I was a few minutes late, you guys. I'm sorry I was a few minutes late. Hey, E. Starkey. Hey, Cherise. Budgets and wit and ways. Fran J. What's going on? Angela. Tracy. Art World. Are both my Tracy's? Yes, both my Tracy's in here. Hey, Mia. Quake. What's going on? Montrez. Naisha. Hey. I have an echo. Oh, that's what I have. Okay. Is it still an echo? Thank you, Xavier. This is it's got like a whole little island thing on it. Yeah, this is child wanted some work today because we were doing I was setting up my classroom. Okay, do y'all still hear the echo? The echo. I can wait until Friday, Tracy. I appreciate the love. Absolutely. No, I'll keep it. I said I was going to. I'll keep it open, child. Y'all, Lord. Thank y'all. Hey, Spiderweb. Hey, Julian. All right, 30 more minutes. We'll keep you entertained, I hope, for the 30 minutes. Hey, Vintage. What's going on, my love? Lamone. Hey, my love. Nursing 38. What's up, geeks? And a nerd production. Davina. Hey, Melly. Okay, must be El Teddy Child. What grade do you teach? I teach high school, so I actually have pretty much all the grade levels. And child, I looked at my schedule today and I was like, whoo. But anyway, I teach high school. So I teach mainly ninth grade, but I honestly have, because of what I teach, I have a little bit of everybody. I teach US history. I teach AP US history. I teach IB Psych 1 and 2, and I teach history of the Americas. So I have a full load, a very full load. Okay. So listen, Carlos King is doing these interviews. I honestly don't know what Carlos King's angle is. Like, I don't think he's angling to produce the show again. Like, I don't think that's his angle. Because I honestly do feel like if Carlos wanted to stay with Bravo, he could have. I do not believe he was fired or that they parted on bad terms. Honestly, I don't. I don't know that to be a fact, and some of y'all might know better than I know. But I'm just not sure. What's up, Pam? Girl, I got my alarm set for 10 o'clock tomorrow. Your mom was a teacher. Oh, your mom is a hero. That was your favorite subject. See, I knew I loved you, Harold. I knew me and you was right there. It's just interesting to me. It is interesting to me. But we know he did that, interview with Nene and with Kenya. It would really be great. And I said this yesterday, I really wish that Candy and Carlos could air out their differences, because I think that would be an epic interview with Candy, Carlos, and Todd. I think that would be epic. I really, really do. But I have my notes. I listened to part 1 and part 2. I never did talk about part 1. I never really finished listening to part 1, honestly. And then part 2 came out today, and of course there was some sound bites, and so I went back and listened to all of it. Hey Ebs, I got something to send you today. Actually, I got something to send you and El Teddy when I get off of here. Ebby, remind me. I'll forget when I get off of here. I'll be doing 5. I'll do 20 other things. Don't worry, that interview is coming. Lil Mackie, I hope so. I really, really, really hope so. You got to see in U.S. history, but I love Western civilization, psychology, and U.S. government. Budgets, the grade isn't always a reflection of what you know and what you don't know, child. They need a mutual friend to mediate. I think Kenya can mediate that. I think because it does sound like that Kenya and Carlos are legit friends. And contrary to what Carlos thinks, I believe that Kenya and Candy are legit friends. Do I think that they're best friends and they talk every day on the phone and all that? No. But I think that they're good enough friends that they travel together when there isn't a camera crew. I mean, listen, I have friends that I would never get on a plane with. And then I have friends who I always want to travel with, right? So I do think that they are friends in real life. So I think Kenya might be able to broker it. I don't know. Candy says she's never going to talk to him. I think never is a strong word. I think never is a strong word, but I do agree. Somebody in the chat said Carlos would have to admit Carlos would have to admit that Candy has a legitimate reason to be upset first. I'm not saying he has to admit that he was wrong, because he may not feel like he was wrong, but acknowledge her feelings and saying, I understand why you might feel the way you feel. That I think needs to happen. That I feel like needs to happen. So, and for those who don't know, I thought that's why lipstick. Carlos and Candy fell out mainly. I ain't gonna say it's the only reason, but mainly they fell out because Carlos was trying to do Escape's life story and was kind of going behind Candy's back and was, lying to people in her life to interview them to get more dirt, allegedly, i.e. Candy's mama, So yeah. Candy said she would never work with. Right, that's what I'm saying, Reboot. Never is a strong word, and people say never out of emotion. I don't think it's never with the. I don't know. So anyway, let's get into it. Let me get to my notes, child. Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't think I was excited about this interview as some of y'all were, or as the blogs were. I guess technically I am a blog. Well, no, I'm not really a blog. I'm a vlogger. I'm not a blog. But I just wasn't as excited. I mean, there were things that I definitely did not know. There were things that I learned, but ultimately, it was a few tidbits thrown in, a few jabs. I do think for people who don't like Kenya, I do think this was an interview to watch. If you're somebody that does not like Kenya, or you don't like what you have seen on camera about Kenya, I do think this was a good video for you to watch. I don't like or dislike Kenya. I mean, I've had my moments where I have not liked Kenya's actions, but I watch enough reality TV that I can separate it. I understand there's a difference. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm with Nene on this. If Candy can forgive Portia, a conversation with Carlos shouldn't be impossible. Yeah, I agree. All right, so first of all, the interview sort of started giving us a background on Kenya. You know that Kenya was Miss USA. And again, we know there's a difference between Miss USA and Miss America. The biggest thing, and Harold, correct me if I'm wrong, the biggest difference I found in watching Secrets of Miss America is Miss USA seems to be a little more liberal leaning. We know that Miss USA, they've allowed the women, especially the women of color, to wear their natural hair a lot sooner than Miss America. We know that I believe Miss USA has had more Black or more people of color win, or women of color win. So they seem to be a little more liberal. But again, to be Miss USA or Miss America is definitely a feat. Kenya is not the traditional, and what I mean by that is when we start talking about colorism and everything like that. Um, Kenya is a little more chocolate. But Kenya is beautiful. I think Kenya is beautiful. I really do. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't excited either, but I'm happy to speak on certain things. Oh, she got to speak on certain things. Okay, Miss America is more beauty based. I mean, Miss USA is more beauty based. Miss America is more scholarship based. Okay, but would you agree that Miss USA seems to be more liberal? And again, Harold is my expert on pageants, so that's why I'm asking him. Do you feel like it's more liberal? I never knew the difference, but watched both Miss USA and Miss America and Miss Universe. Okay. Abby. My head mod. Now, Abby is my managing mod. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but Abby is my managing mod. Abby and El Teddy. My managing mods over here. So Abby said that there are 129 people in the chat, but there are only 66 likes. Please, please, please hit the like button. I didn't put it in the chat today, but if y'all could please hit the like button, it would be much appreciated. Y'all know we're trying to get to 15K. Oh, pin. Let me do this real quick. Y'all know that maybe about 2 months ago, I guess, y'all know I went to a pop-up shop for Karen Huger, since we're talking about Bravo and Housewives. Y'all know I went to a pop-up shop for the Grand Dame. Y'all know I love me the Grand Dame. And I did get this gift set for La Dame. It is a diffuser. It's the diffuser with the La Dame oil and a La Dame candle. It is signed by Karen Huger. I said that I was going to give this away when I hit 15K. But the 15K is moving really slow, and it's okay. Y'all know we're a slow moving channel over here. It's okay. So somebody gave me the suggestion last night that I should either do it 15K or for the premiere, the season premiere of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And I said, you know what? That is a good idea. So this is just a little votive candle, baby. No, this ain't the 3-wick. This ain't the 4-wick, baby. No. But this gift set wasn't cheap. Now, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. This wasn't a cheap gift set. I'm not gonna tell you how much because I don't want to be tacky, but it wasn't cheap. But so that's what I'm gonna do. So if we haven't hit 15K by the premiere of the Real Housewives of Potomac, then when I go the first Real Housewives of Potomac live that I do for the new season, I will do the giveaway. I will do the giveaway at that time. I ain't figured out how I'm gonna give it away, but we're gonna give it away. Okay? All right. So I don't know when it comes back on. Probably because they're done filming. Well, they done filming. They had the big fight at the season, and the season finale was the day after the fight. So I'm probably thinking early 2024. Early 2024. So what I'm gonna have to do is probably wrap that up so that lose, break out that Jack Daniels box. Okay, Abby, that's a good idea. I'll break out the Jack Daniels box. Now, if I break out the Jack Daniels box, that means you got to be a member. Because for those who are new here, the Jack Daniels box is all the names of my members. And that's what I usually do for my 12 days of Christmas. Or maybe it'll be the conclusion of the 12 days of Christmas. Whichever comes first, child, at this point. All right, let me get back to this because they're going to be complaining that I talked about everything except for that. Okay. So they talked about Kenya becoming Miss USA, and they talked about a lot about her childhood. Now, she's shared some things on the show. The one thing I will say about Kenya is her story with her mother is heartbreaking. From what Kenya, the way it was explained is her mom had her and basically wanted nothing to do with her to the extent that she pretty much denied even giving birth to Kenya. Like she would never acknowledge that Kenya was even alive, right? I mean, even to the point where she would look Kenya dead in her face and be like, "You're not my daughter." And other family members would say to her, "Come on now, that's your child." And she would say, "That's not my child. I don't have a daughter. I didn't." So Carlos asked her, did she think there was some did she think there was some mental health issues, or is her mother just unwilling to accept her? And she said, no, there's definitely some mental health issues with my mom. And I can agree with the way Kenya described it. She said that from all intents and purposes, the family said that her mom was fine, normal, prior to giving birth. And after she gave birth to Kenya, it was just downhill from there. Even to the point where she, stayed in her room, wouldn't come out of her room. So it sounds like there was some mental health issues. And again, remember, you guys, this was the 1970s. People don't talk about those things like today. I think it would be dealt with differently than it was back then. We saw on the show where she showed up at her mama's house and like her mama wouldn't even open up the door. We saw that, which I said it then and I will continue to say it because that's my opinion. I think that was wrong for Kenya to do. I just think that was wrong for Kenya to do. You knew who your mom was. You knew you weren't going to get nothing, certainly nothing on camera that you hadn't gotten your whole life. And to show up at your mom's house like that, I think they said they did call and say they were coming. But I just don't know what you thought was going to happen. I don't know what you thought. But again, a child is going to always want their parents' acceptance. We've seen children forgive parents who have abused them and been on drugs and abandoned them. Like, we've seen it happen. So I think maybe there was just a part of Kenya that was just hoping. I don't know. I have a family member, and some people are saying postpartum. It could very well have been postpartum, because Kenya has a relationship with her father. So I don't feel like it was a situation where the father. I don't feel like Kenya is a product of, sexual assault or anything like that, because her father is very much a part of her life. I just think that, there's some stuff there. I have a family member who I've talked to other family members. She's a little bit off, she's a little special. She's a little off. And I've had people in the family. My father told me, he said he thinks that he said that, she used to be fine. She had her own house. She lived a full life. She used to party. These when they were younger, like in their 20s. She used to hang out with them and party with them. And she used to do all these things. And then one day she just totally, she still went to work every day. She was still was functioning, but she changed. She stopped partying with them. She abandoned her house. She didn't sell it. She didn't nothing. She just moved out of the house and never went back. And my father told me that in hindsight, looking back at it today with the vision, he said, I believe something happened to her in that house that she never told us about. So either maybe the house was broken into and she was attacked. Maybe she went on a date and brought somebody home. But my father was like, something happened to her in that house, because she just one day just flipped and just moved out that house and just left it and just abandoned it. She never sold it. She never said another family member could move in. She just totally. So, we never know what makes people do the things that they do. So I'm sure there's a story there. The sad thing is it doesn't sound like her mother's ever going to tell it. It just sounds like her mother's never going to tell the story. So all she has is her father's version and her family's version of whatever did or did not happen. So I say it doesn't seem like there was any type of assault, but I don't know, because we don't know her mother's version of the story. We only know what her father's saying, and of course her father ain't gonna be like, yeah, I did da 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 da. So but I am not saying that her father did anything. I'm not saying that her father did anything. I'm just saying we don't know her mother's version of the story. So the issue I have, Kenya said this was her mother's second teenage pregnancy. Yeah, so there's something there. So, right, they were both right. They were teenagers. So that I know. And you're right. There's definitely a stigma there. Certainly in the late 60s, early 70s, there's definitely a stigma there. So anyway, so they talked about that in the beginning, and then they sort of got into Housewives. So what we found out is, and I'm sort of blending the two interviews together because, yeah, y'all know how Carlos does. He likes to go off and talk about what he did and how he did this and how he did that and what he did. So, I'm blending the two interviews together. Hey, Deborah, no, you're fine. Is her father a big part of her life? He just met Brooklyn and she's 5 years old. Kenya has taken her to Paris. One would think she would stop off in Texas. I mean, you're right. So maybe big is not the right word. You're right. Maybe big part, maybe not, but a part of her life. You're right. A part of her life. You're valid point. So let me start with her Real Housewives of Atlanta journey. She said that she was living in LA. Oh, well, actually, before we get to that, Carlos talked about the fact that Kenya was a producer, doing movies and producing under her production company and stuff like that. She said that she talked about working with Will Packer, and she even said, she ain't allude to, she came right out and said that, she feels like she could take credit for Will Packer's some of his success. I think Twa. Not only was Kenya in Twa, but she helped produce Twa. And y'all know that Kenya has produced a lot of like straight to DVD movies and stuff like that. And then let me tell you something. Those straight to DVD movies were very lucrative in the DVD phase. People like Vivica Fox. I know people clown Vivica Fox and this, that, and the other. But Vivica Fox made a lot of money. I ain't saying she got it today, y'all. I'm not talking about her bank account today. But Vivica Fox made a lot of money in those straight to DVD movies in the like 2000s when, you walk in the barbershop and buy them DVDs that So there was a market for it. And it was a lucrative market. Her and Will Packer have a relationship, and it sounds like that she's making it seem like she helped Will Packer sort of get into making movies. And for those who don't know Will Packer for his work, a couple of movies that Will Packer has done is the Steve Harvey's Think Like a Woman, Act Like a Man, whatever. Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman, whatever those movies were. He produces Ready to Love, Put a Ring on It, Over on Own. He's done some other movies. He's done a couple other movies. So I thought that was interesting because I didn't know that. I did not know that Kenya Moore produced movies with Will Packer. And yes, Will Packer is a very big director these days. And if the two of them work together and she helped him get his footing in Hollywood, I think that's a great story to tell and a great relationship. I hope they're still good. I didn't get the impression that it was any hate. I mean, she was a little shady, but I didn't get an impression that there was an issue. But you never know. You never know. Carlos did say he would be interested in producing shows like dramas with Kenya. Yeah, he did Girls Trip. Thank you, Marilyn. He did Girls Trip as well. Yeah, because they're supposed to be working on Girls Trip too. Because he said he wasn't going to make Girls Trip 2 without Tiffany Haddish when she was going through all her stuff. He was like, yeah, well, we ain't going to do a Girls Trip 2 without that. Did he produce? He may have Green Girl. I'm not sure. No, I knew who Kenya Moore was before Housewives. I knew who she was. I mean, she wasn't like a household name, but I knew who she was. You didn't know Will Packer? You know his work. You may not have known he did it, but you know his work. I mean, like I said, he did Girls Trip. He did the Steve Harvey movies, Act Like a Woman, Think Like a Man, or whatever the movies are. And like I said, he does Ready to Love and Put a Ring on It, Over on Own. Somebody said he produced he produced the Ox. Yeah, well yeah, he did. Okay, you're right. He did produce the Oscars where Will slapped Chris Rock. But yeah. So, okay. So, yeah. Okay. So, anyway, So that he did Ambitions, which was a really good show, by the way, that I didn't think should have been canceled, but who am I? But I thought Ambitions was a good show. I actually reviewed it on my channel, and I was mad because I just knew we was gonna get a season 2. But anyway, he did Stomp Y'all. Okay, so yeah, so you may not have heard of Will Packer, but y'all know his work. So, so that was interesting that I didn't know that. So that was interesting to learn. So she said that she was in LA and she said it felt like she was doing the same thing. She said, look, I was paying my bills. I was keeping the lights on. She wasn't becoming a billionaire, but she was working. But she said she felt like she was just on the wheel and just spinning and doing the same thing. She said she felt like her days were just the same thing over and over and over and over again. Auditioning, getting a small part or whatever, and it was just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning is what she felt like. So, with that being said, the opportunity for Real Housewives of Atlanta came up, and so literally she drove to it. She drove to LA. Drove to Atlanta from LA. And what I thought was interesting was she said, and her and Carlos both said this. Back then, you had to audition to be on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because remember, the Real Housewives of Atlanta was like the #1 show on Bravo, or in the top 3 on Bravo for many, many, many years. And so it was a coveted spot. And so Kenya said that she filmed for almost a month before they even gave her a contract, before they offered her the job. She said she filmed for a month for free. It wasn't, and I'm going to get back to that, because she talked about maybe that being part of the magic. Part of the problem with what's going on with the show now. She said you had to film with people and get to know the people. Like she said, now people just are given a peach and they show up to film and we don't know them. We don't know who these women are. So a lot of what you see on camera is like, wait a minute, who are you? So like when we look at the Candy and the Courtneys, Candy's asking around about Courtney because she finds out Courtney's going to be on the show. She doesn't know her. She doesn't know this woman. She don't know nothing about her. So yeah, she asking around. Y'all know Courtney? Y'all know her? You heard of her? She said, but back then you had to actually audition. And she said that infamous scene with her and Portia from their first season really was a result of the fact that the rest of the ladies were on strike. The rest of the ladies were on strike because they were on strike against Kim, because they felt like Kim was getting preferential treatment. So they refused to show up to film. And so as a result, the producers were like, well, hell, we got to do something. Like, we can't just waste a week of production because they mad. And that's when they filmed Kenya showing up to Portia's event. And, the whole, oh, Miss America, oh, you're Miss USA. We remember all of that, right? Right. It's like a chemistry test. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so she said, basically, that's when they finally offered it to her, because Kenya said she said she was done. She said, I told them I'm not filming anymore. Like, either you like me or you don't. Like, I've been filming for weeks, and either I'm a good fit or I'm not a good fit, but y'all need to let me know something. And they were like, can you just do one more scene? Can you do one? Okay, boo. Thank you, Ebs. She was like, can y'all just do one more scene? And that scene was the Portia scene. But here's the reality, though. A lot of the reality shows, especially the Housewives, a lot of them do that. That's why there are times when they say, oh, so-and-so is going to be on the show. Oh, well, they're just a friend of the show. Oh, well, their scenes were cut out. Because they make them do let's see if you're going to get along with the ladies. Let's see if you bring in anything. One thing that Kenya said that I thought was so valid, and this is going to go back to why I say that I think that we've got to stop comparing season 4, season 5, season 6 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta to season 13, 14, 15. Because, hey, Mr. Willie Brown, because certain things are gone forever. So what I mean by that is this. Kenya said, look, I wasn't a fan. She said, I had watched a couple of episodes, but I didn't watch every episode. I didn't know all of the people on the show. She said, I knew Nene. She said, I didn't like Nene. I didn't have a good impression of Nene. She said, but I did not religiously watch every single episode. I didn't know every woman's storyline, every background. So when I was filming, it was organic. A lot of what you saw was us being organic. And I think back on it and I said, you know what she's saying is valid. And let me tell you why. Remember, I told you guys, I've missed a few seasons. I missed a few seasons of Beverly. I watched the first season. I think I watched the first 2 seasons of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And then I missed like 3 or 4 seasons and then I came back. Same thing with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I haven't seen every single season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You know why I haven't seen every single season of these shows? Because if you rewind back, we didn't have Peacock. It wasn't streaming the next day. You had DVRs. I would have to go back and do my research and get the exact year. But I had a TiVo. Remember, for those who remember what a TiVo was a DVR. But it was independent. And then DirecTV bought the technology. Now everybody has a DVR. But at first, it was a TiVo. I had a TiVo. And I don't remember the year I got the TiVo. But once I got my TiVo, then I could, then I didn't miss a show. Because I could put it in my DVR and I could watch it. But prior to that, baby, if you weren't home, you just weren't home. If you missed the show, you could put it on VHS. I used to record shows on VHS too, but you were limited, right? If you had a 6-hour tape or a 4-hour tape, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people miss stuff. Because if you weren't home to see it, you just weren't home to see it. A Different World is my favorite show, but there were some episodes I didn't catch until it was in reruns or, believe it or not, I missed the most famous Different World episode ever. I missed the wedding. I didn't miss part 1. I saw part 1. I missed part 2. And I had to wait for the reruns before I could see part 2. I was in college then, child. I was out, whatever was going on that night, child. I just missed it. So her point is valid when she says, look, now these women can study us. See, I took y'all back because I'm telling y'all I'm old and I be remembering these things. So I was thinking, I said, you know what, her point is very valid. Her point is very valid. So now though, these women can go back. They can go back and they can review, they can watch, they can study, they can show up ready, they can show up with, as Kenya was saying, rehearsed reads, they can come up knowing who they want to pick on. Like, they show up with this information that we didn't have when we first were doing the show. And so it was more organic. And that's why I say there's some things we can't unwind the clock on. So Kenya said basically Portia and her can kind of thank the fact that the ladies were refusing to film because of Kim Zolciak, really for them getting their show, right? For them getting on the show. Because Portia wasn't even supposed to be a regular cast member. Portia was supposed to be a friend of the show. But Kim, I think she said Kim, they didn't know whether Kim was going to come back or because Kim had walked off and they didn't know whether Kim was going to stay. And so that's when they brought Portia on. If it wasn't for Kim Zolciak acting a damn fool, child, we might not have ever got them some Portia. Hey, right. Thanks, Kim. Right. Okay. Right. Me too. Budget and Ways. I had to go back and look at Chicago PD when I first got. It wasn't Peacock because before Peacock, Chicago PD used to come on Hulu or Netflix. I can't remember which one, but that's where I went back and watched and got caught up on Chicago PD. All right, so okay, so let me go to my notes, child. Some of this stuff I'm just going by memory because the video didn't necessarily go in order, so I'm trying to go in order. Sorry. Hold on. What's this, Tracy? What Tracy just sent me, child? What? Tracy, what is this? Tracy, why did you just send me this? This is old. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, never mind. Never mind, Tracy. Never mind. See, I didn't this. See what happened? You pick up your phone, and it just goes in. I'm sorry, Tracy. My bad. My apologies. I ain't see the whole thing. Okay. Let me go to my notes, child. See when you pick up your phone and something just pops out at you. Okay. Right. So she said now the new girls are just fans. Um, Portia replacement after Kim walked off. Okay. Now, Kenya said while season 5 was being shown, she said that she had to get that she went to a deep. Was it season 5? I think it was season 5. She said she had to go to therapy. She said because as the season was playing back, a lot of stuff happened. There was a lot of hate, and there were a lot of things that were going on. Again, remember, Candy has famously said, being on a reality show, you have to. Thank you. It was season 5. Thank you, my love. You have to relive. You live these things 3 times. She said you live it when you're filming it, you live it when you're watching it, and then you have to relive it at the reunion. And so Kenya filmed season 5, but then of course, as it was being shown, as season 5 was being shown, she said some of the things the girls were really vicious about, and it was very hurtful to her, and she had to process it. So she said the Nene stuff about being in the ghetto she said that didn't. She said that was fun shade. It was good TV. She didn't care. She said she was literally staying at a 5-star hotel in a suite. She said, so she wasn't even tripping. She said she was across the street from some sort of 5-star restaurant or whatever. But it was cute. It was fun shade. And she said, I wasn't even mad about that. But she was like, it was Phaedra accusing her of being an alcoholic. She said that was very hurtful to her, that Phaedra accused her of being an alcoholic. She said because that was a trigger. That was a trigger for her. Because I'm just telling you what she said. See, Golden. She said it was a trigger for her because that's one of the things her mother accused her of when she tried to have a relationship with her mom. Her mom, told people that, well, she's just an alcoholic, she's lying, blah, blah, blah. So she said that was a trigger for her, and she really it was hard. Again, now Kenya did say, she said people always see what I do. She said, but people always forget what people did to me. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, y'all. I am just telling y'all what it said. I'm just telling y'all what Kenya said. I ain't saying whether I agree or disagree, because again, I have not seen every episode, every season. So she talked. Now, here's the thing with Phaedra. Y'all, Phaedra. So when Walter, y'all remember her alleged fake boyfriend from her first season. Remember when Walter went on the radio and said that it was that she asked him to be on the show and that he was never really her boyfriend. She said they were dating. And she said that Candy even verified it because Candy was friends, mutual friends with him. and that she knows that they dated and that they went out on dates and that they actually, that he had actually flown out to LA to spend time with. Yes, Kenya was absolutely horrible to Kim Fields for no reason. Like, Kim wasn't bothering nobody. But moving on. She said that, first of all, Walter never said that she paid him. He said Walter asked her to be on the show as her boyfriend. And you have to get permission. Like, people have to sign releases, people have to agree to film and do certain things. So she said, I never paid him, and we were dating. She said, she was like, so that wasn't a lie. She said, but what she found out was Phaedra was actually Walter's attorney. He had retained Phaedra as an attorney to represent him as he went on his press tour against Kenya. So the minute I heard that, I said, okay, now that is some stuff I did not know. And that definitely does make me side-eye Phaedra. Girl, what you representing Walter for? What are you representing Walter for? Ma'am. She said that Phaedra also lied on her about the story she told about Kenya seeing Apollo at a party and following him back to his hotel and then propositioning him. Now, I remember the story about her following him, about him being in the hotel and her flirting with him. But I didn't remember the story about she allegedly propositioned him about oral sex. Now, I didn't remember that part of the story. That don't mean it didn't happen. But Apollo admitted that the story was a lie. Apollo admitted that the story was a lie. And they even had to because Apollo went to Carlos and admitted that the story was a lie. And I'm sorry, y'all, I keep getting distracted. That Apollo admitted that the story was a lie. And Carlos was like, well, telling me don't mean nothing. You're going to have to say it on camera. And that's where they filmed that scene where Apollo apologized to Kenya. And they said at first Apollo he didn't want to say what he was apologizing for. And Kenya was like, listen, I can't accept an apology if you can't say what it's for. Like, you got people out here really thinking that I'm out here chasing after a married man. Like, I'm not. No, like, you have to say what was the lie and what you're apologizing for. And so eventually she said they said that hour, that scene took an hour to film. It was a 5-minute scene because Apollo didn't want to come right out and say that story was a lie. I guess he didn't want to go against Phaedra or whatever. I don't know. But Phaedra told that story. And when Kenya confronted Phaedra at the reunion about it, Phaedra couldn't give. She said, well, tell me the date. When did this party take place? Tell me the date. Tell me the time so I can defend myself. You're just saying some random party at some random hotel on some random day. If you say it was the Grammys party on January the 24th of, 2010, now I can defend myself and say I wasn't in town. I was on vacation and here are the pictures. Like, you sitting here just randomly throwing it out and you won't give me the facts. And so again, when you add those two lies to the lie about Candy, and Kenya said there are only two people there are only two people from the Real Housewives franchise that she just thinks are bad people. She didn't call Phaedra by name, but after she told these stories, I'm pretty certain Phaedra is one of them. That's my opinion. She said it's not Nene. She said, and it's not Portia. She said her and Portia have an on again, off again situation. She said, but she looks at Portia like her little sister. Little sisters fight, little sisters argue, but and she said Nene is good. She said Nene is good TV. And, she said I don't think Nene's a bad person. You're right, Amber. I think the other person is probably Marlo because baby, she lays into Marlo. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but baby, she laid Marlo ass out. Okay. Um, and Carlos even talked about the lie about him that he hasn't been able. She said he said even though he's been vindicated and people even people vindicated him, he said people still believe that he's the one that told that lie on Candy. Um, and we know that all of that all roads lead back to one person, which is Phaedra's ass. And I'll be honest with you, I know Candy has been vocal about not filming with Phaedra anymore, but it sounded like Kenya might not fool with Phaedra anymore. I mean, she didn't say it, but it definitely sounds like that would she would have to think about it, So that's the Phaedra stuff. Hold on, y'all. Let me get the hold on. Oh, my poo got some new glasses, y'all. Look, my baby got some new glasses. Him so handsome. Getting ready for his first day of school is on Monday. Him so handsome. Anyway, that all makes sense now. They're perfectly matched. Both Phaedra and Apollo are con artists, child. Carlos don't. Yeah, he didn't. It sounds like Carlos don't have nothing for Phaedra ass either, to be honest with you. Okay. She talked about reunion seating. A lot of people were surprised to see that. Thank y'all. A lot of people were surprised to see that Kenya didn't get first chair, right? And she said she was very upset by it. She was very taken back by it because, like I keep trying to tell people, first chair has nothing to do with storyline. First chair has to do with who production feels is the star of the show. Nene always sat first chair, whether she had a story or not, whether she had a strong season or not. Kyle always sits first chair, whether she's got a story or not, whether she has a good season or not. Teresa Giudice now since she's become the face of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, always sits first chair. Always sits first chair. Right? Giselle. Because that is who production feels is the star of the show. So it has nothing to do with storyline. So all of this bull hockey that people are like, oh, but she didn't have a story this season. Nope. And she said that she does feel offended by the fact that she didn't get first chair. And Carlos asked her, he said, do you feel like they're phasing you out? And she just laughed. I don't feel like she ever straightforward answered that question. She sort of laughed. She talked about the fact that a lot of her scenes this season were cut out. A lot of her scenes were cut out. She said that there were scenes. She said, they filmed at the opening of her salon and the whole cast was there, yet they cut that scene out. And they chose to show Marlo's foster care event where half the cast wasn't even there for the event. She talked about when she was in Portugal, how she said she went off on the cast. She told them that basically she told them they were fake, they were phony, and that they were ruining the show. They were bringing in these fake storylines, these manufactured reads, this alliance, this behind the scenes alliance. And she said it is making the show bad. And she said, of course, they cut that out. But she said when they were at dinner, remember that boring ass dinner where Drew ran out and when Candy said production told them that they needed to get him more. She said she went off on him in when they were in Portugal. But of course, I mean, she broke the fourth wall, so of course they weren't going to show it. But she said she let them have it. Like, listen, this is not okay. What we're doing is horrible. Kenya's stories have always been contrived. She started the trend. Okay. I'm trying to read. Okay. Let me go back to my notes, y'all. Okay. I'm reading your comments. All right. Reunion seating. Okay. Walter. Okay. Phaedra. Okay. Phaedra. Okay. Okay. Oh, and Carlos asked her. He said, "Well, you look like you were bored this season." She was like, I was. I was." She said, I'm going to go back and forth with you when you give me something to go back and forth about. Because he was talking about how when Courtney was kind of coming for her and how she didn't even entertain Courtney. She was like, I'm not. She was like, because she wasn't giving me anything. Like, I'm not going to give her more than what she's bringing. And she wasn't bringing anything. Right. I said, okay, girl. Right. Um, okay. He asked her about Marlo, and she said point blank, Marlo has ruined the last 2 seasons of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She said Marlo is the reason why you don't make a friend of the show. You don't give them a peach. She said that there's a reason why production did. She said it's the reason why she was a friend of the show for 10 years. She said Marlo spent the whole first half of the season going after Candy to the point where production finally told her, okay, like you got to give us something else. Like there's got to be something else. And then all of a sudden she pops up with Scott Lee. She said Marlo's whole thing was to just go after, you know, Candy. And she said that Marlo brings nothing. Marlo, she said Marlo could really be telling us her whole story. She refuses to tell her story, and she brings nothing to the show. She went off. When I say she went off on Marlo, baby, she went off on Marlo. Do you hear me? Like she gave Marlo probably about 10 minutes. She gave, something about, but she gave Marlo about 10 minutes. Okay, I said, damn. She really gave it to Marlo, but she said that Marlo brings nothing. And that she has ruined the last 2 seasons, child. They brought up Courtney. She said Courtney is not even a housewife. She said Courtney is homeless, living on somebody's couch. I said, damn. She said Courtney don't have no man. She got that fake jewelry line that ain't nobody talking about. She talked about the chairlift, child. Now listen, y'all can go back to my review. I wish I could find the episode. I don't remember the first time I saw that chairlift, and I don't remember what episode it was. But I saw that chairlift, and I mentioned it. I said it in my review last season. Last season, that chairlift was in Marlo's confessionals, and I said it then. I said, "What the hell? What the hell does?" I said, "Because I think I even said, is Marlo too lazy to walk up the steps? Why does she have a chairlift?" I said it last season. I said it. So when she said it today, and now the whole internet is looking for the receipts, I was like, "How did y'all not see that chairlift? I saw it last year." Because, and I'm gonna tell you what, my parents have a chairlift at their house, so I know. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, but that's why it stood out to me because my parents have one. So I was like, "What the hell she doing with a chairlift?" No, the confessionals are green screens of your house. So I feel like production was being shady. The confessionals are green screens of the room. They're not green screens actually. Well, some are. I can't say they're not green screens, but they're green screens of your actual of a room in your house. So that is actually Marlo. That's Marlo's house. She might have disabled family members who coming over her house that often that she got. Listen, chairlifts are not cheap. You don't buy a chairlift for your house because um somebody comes over to visit. You no. Mm-mm. It would because the chairlift goes from her first floor to her upstairs. So the only reason why you would have a chairlift is if somebody is going upstairs. Mm-mm. You would need a chairlift for somebody that comes over to visit. But neither here nor there. I mean, of course, Kenya was shady about it, but her point was valid. There are so many other things that Marlo can talk about other than being in fault. And then what bothers me about Marlo is Marlo does whatever she wants to do. Marlo does whatever she wants to do, and then whenever they call her on it, then it's, well, I grew up in foster care. Girl, we talked about that last season. You don't get to come. You don't get to come over. I mean, come for me, and then write that shit off as, oh, well, I was in foster care. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That doesn't excuse, especially not at your ripe age of damn near 50. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Exactly, P. I'm like, why is everybody acting like they never saw that damn chair? I talked about it, and again, I really wish I could find it. I would have to go back and look at all my reviews from last season, and I love y'all, but I'm not about to do that. But I remember I talked about it because I saw it and I was like, why she got a chair? Because I didn't even go where Kenya went with it. Because of course Kenya said that, is it because her benefactors are too old to walk up the steps? You know how that, the old white man thing with Marlo. I just was like, is she too lazy to walk up her own damn steps? I said, she got them she be wearing them Louboutins and stuff. Maybe she don't want to walk up and down the steps in them heels. I don't know. Because it wouldn't even be the person who lived in the house before her. That's not something that people would leave in the house. And if they did, maybe they did. Maybe they sold the house as is. Why would you keep it? Let me tell you again, and I know this is real petty. So I'm not gonna belabor this, right? Those chairs are bulky. When I go over my parents' house and I want to walk up the steps, because usually the chair's at the top. Well, I mean, it's usually at the top of the steps. As I'm coming up the steps, in order for me, and it only had nothing to do with me being fat. Okay, if I was thin, I still wouldn't be able to slide past, because my parents' stairway isn't that. It's not a big stairway. I have to. There's a way that you can lift the chair, lift the footstool, and lift the arms so that me and my sister and my brother-in-law can walk past it. Like with that chair there, you can't. It's just not that easy. It's bulky. There's no reason in the world for somebody who doesn't have a problem walking to have it, unless there's a reason. And again, her reason could be legit that don't have. And I'm not going down that road with Kenya. I mean, I feel like Kenya went nasty with it, but I understand. You know what I mean? I ain't about to say I understand where you're coming from. What's up, Elizabeth Hill? Hey. Jen Aiden's blunt. Right, so I feel like it was for Ted Turner. So towards the end of this, I feel like Kenya kind of went off. Now remember, y'all, the season is over. The reunion has been filmed. Generally speaking, they don't discuss personnel until after the reunion is aired. So Kenya may have already decided not to come back. Or maybe production has already told Kenya she's not coming back. And that's why she spoke so freely. Because baby, she was letting it out. I mean, okay, she was letting it out. Do you hear me? She puts her clothes, she puts her snacks. Lord, y'all in the chat, cracking cutting up now. We're not going to see the salon on this season. They filmed it and they cut it out. Well, yeah, because Kenya said we don't see it. They get the episodes a few weeks in advance. So remember, last week's episode that we just saw, that was the original season finale. That was the original season finale. The only reason why we're getting another episode is because the news, when Drew filed for divorce, y'all remember they came back to film everybody's reaction. So we might get it next week, because next week is a thrown together episode. But originally, it was cut out of the season because had Drew not filed for divorce, the season finale was the episode we just saw. The season finale was Sheree's sipping seat. That's why they forced that scene between Kenya and Martell. I guess they were closing up that story arc or whatever. But that last week's episode was originally the season finale. So even if we see the salon opening next week, they still cut it out of the season. They're just throwing it in there now because they have to show us something. They got to give us a whole, 43 minutes of TV because they had to throw together this episode. So even if we see it, it still wasn't meant. They still didn't. Hey, Busy, what's up, boo? He said just throw the whole season away. Child. They did ask her about, reboots and stuff like that. And she was like, she doesn't think that's the answer. And of course, Carlos was like, well, my dream team would be, you and Nene and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And Kenya told him point blank, she said, well, we know that's not happening. So we can't, she said, that's never going to happen. And he was like, he asked her, well, do you miss Nene? She said, yeah, I miss Nene. But she was like, but that ain't never happening. Like, this dream team that you just came up with is never going to happen. And I feel like a major part of the never was Nene. Okay. That says a lot about Kenya telling the truth about production because there is no reason we can't. That was her storyline. Now, they cut a lot of it out, but she said she filmed the whole process. And the fact that what comment, Elizabeth? I said hi. I didn't see another comment. Hold on. What comment? Let me see. They showed that chair in the episode when Marlo had invited Nene to the house for the first time. Okay. I didn't see that comment, Elizabeth. I don't remember. Like I said, I didn't remember what the episode was, but I knew I had seen that chair. Okay. So, she talked about Kenya Moore hair care. She talked about the fact that she's building an empire and the fact that they're not showing any of it. She said, they show Candy making a movie. They show this, they show that. But for whatever reason, they didn't want to show her. They didn't want to show the Kenya Moore hair care thing. She said even, which I thought was interesting for her to say, she said even her performing at the HBCU and that whole thing falling apart because she got sick and showing how she picked up the pieces, meaning, remember that scene where she turned it into a commercial because, well, a commercial we never seen, but of course, excuse me, she turned it into a commercial because she had to salvage it. She said that, she is financing Kenya. She financed Kenya Moore hair care out of her own money. She said, I sacrificed my shoe money. I sacrificed my bag money. Like, this was my money that I used and I built it from the ground up. And, so I like the fact that we didn't even know that the salon had opened. The fact that we didn't even know that salon is open. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. It's really sad. It's really sad. And again, I am not the biggest Kenya fan. I'm not crazy about a lot of stuff Kenya has done and said. To be perfectly honest, I am not a fan. I'm just telling y'all what was said. I'm not even saying that I agree with Kenya's version of events in some cases. Like I said, Kenya, you did flirt with Apollo. Now, I don't care what nobody say. You flirted with that married man when y'all was down to the Jamaica and that man threw you in the pool. You was flirting with that man, with that woman's husband. Now, I ain't saying that Phaedra was that it was fair to lie on her. I ain't saying that. But you did. Girl, you did. You was flirting with that woman's husband. What you did to Portia, even though I'm not condoning Portia putting her hands on you, you was in that woman's ear with that damn megaphone and she asked you to stop. So we're not going to sit here and say that your behavior has been perfect. Although I do think a lot of points that Kenya made were valid as it relates to production, as it relates to her experience. You understand what I'm saying? Um, yeah, so again, y'all know I try to be fair. Y'all know that. I mean, I don't dislike Kenya. I don't. Um, but Kenya, you were a villain and you relished in that role. Like, you enjoyed being the villain. You absolutely did. You were antagonistic. You understand what I'm saying? Um, and so some of the things you got. I mean, Phaedra got the way Phaedra decided to get back at you was by telling a lie that you tried to get with her husband. I ain't saying that it was right. I ain't defending it because, a lie is a lie is a lie. However, girl, you was up there. Because my thing is, I still ain't forgave you for how you treated Tootie. Now, I know you apologized and all of that. But, girl, you came for Tootie for no reason. Tootie wasn't bothering nobody. Now, if y'all want me to give y'all who I think was the worst Real Housewives cast, it's got to be Kim Fields. Kim Fields should have never been on that damn show. In no way, shape, or form should Kim Fields have ever been on that show. That's just not, no. Now, Kim Fields' sister, I think was ready for y'all. I think that would have been some good TV. Kim Fields' sister, because baby, Kim Fields' sister said when she told him that she was doing the Real Housewives of Atlanta, her sister said to her, "Are you sure? Have you watched the show? Do you know what you're getting yourself into?" Hey, Nay. Yeah. Kim Fields was, I think, in the history of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I still feel like that Kim Fields is the worst decision. And there have been some questionable ones, but I still think Kim Fields was the worst decision. Honestly, I just do. I just do. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, boo. You love the Kenya interview? Okay. Kim Fields' sister is Alexis Steele. Did you ever look at Moesha? The later years when they were in college. If you looked at Moesha when they were in college, Alexis was the third roommate. The one that lied on Moesha and used to that they didn't get along. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Do y'all look at the Upshaws on Netflix, the show with Kim Fields and Wanda Sykes and Mike Epps? Now, her character on the Upshaws, if she showed up, now she might have been ready. Because she got a little hood in her. Now, she's still a little naive, but she got a little hood in her. She got a little hood in her on the show. Right, she was on Moesha, the last 2 seasons. She's been in a couple of other things, but yeah. She's been in a few other things, but that's the first thing I thought about when I thought of Alexis. Okay. Oh yeah, Regine. Now, yeah, she should have showed up as Regine. You right. Now Regine would have gave him some. Okay. The last thing, it was something I was going to tell y'all before I get off of here. The last thing was something else Kenya said. Damn it. Oh, Kenya just said basically the ladies don't have to audition anymore. They're just given their peach. And she said in most cases, I think I said this already, but some of y'all weren't in here at the beginning. In most cases, they've never even met these women. Like, there's no rite of passage. Like, they just show up and they just start filming. And so that's why a lot of times they are sitting there looking at these women like, who are you? Where did you come from? I don't know you. Because they don't. Right? She was the one she started the rumor about Moesha being a hoe. Oh yeah, she dragged the hell out of Courtney. Courtney and Marlo got it. Baby, Courtney and Marlo got it. We did talk about Marlo. Share live, LJ. Moesha was not a hoe, Xavier. Oh my gosh, you are so horrible. Moesha was not a hoe. Like, you act like Moesha had what? 3 boyfriends? She slept with 3 guys? How does that make her a hoe? A child. Anyway. Well, Candy still got to win an Oscar to get an EGOT. Um, she still has three to go to get an EGOT. She doesn't have a Tony. She doesn't have an Oscar. No, she needs two because she has an Emmy and a Grammy. Right? She has an Emmy and a Grammy. She needs the Tony and the Oscar. I think she's gonna get that Tony. She's being very relentless about that Tony. Oh, she doesn't have an Emmy either? I thought she had an Emmy. Oh, well, child, she got a long way to go. I mean, it can happen clearly, but she got a long way to go, child. I thought I thought she had an Emmy. My bad. I thought she had an Emmy. I could be. I thought she had an Emmy for producing that Black Lives Matter special, but I could be wrong. Y'all are telling me she don't have an Emmy. I'm wrong. I just, child, I was trying to give her something. Child. Exactly, Sierra. I don't know what Xavier is talking about. Xavier's talking about she was a hoe. She's not a O. Right, I thought she did have an Emmy. I thought she had an Emmy. Yeah, for production. Thank you. All right, I'm not crazy. Candy does have an Emmy. So she's been nominated. She's been nominated twice for the Tony. She just hasn't won yet, but I think she's now producing the reboot of The Wiz. She's producing that. She got an Emmy for being a producer, not for acting, for being a producer. And then an Oscar. Now, the Oscar is going to be a rough one. She might have to go down the road of producing for that, but I'm just saying. Emmy is for TV shows, right? She produced a TV show. I really thought she wanted. Hold on. Let me Google it, child. Ain't no needing. Let's go to the Google machine, child. Let's just go to the Google machine. Does Candy Burris have an Emmy? Question mark. Go. Okay, she got an Emmy nomination. Okay, she has an Emmy nomination and a Tony nomination. But I don't know if she won the Emmy. Did she win the Emmy? Right, she was nominated for an Emmy and she was nominated for a Tony. Yeah, I don't know if she won the Emmy or not. I know she didn't win the Tony. Google says no. Okay, so she did. She was nominated. She does not have the Emmy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look like she has an Emmy. Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't have the Emmy. But anyway, all right, y'all. Let me go get off of here. It is 8:00. I am tired. When I tell y'all I am tired, I am exhausted. I have been walking all day at work, and then I went to the gym today. I'm tired. I'm gonna try to get a couple of reviews done. I've watched these shows. I just got to sit down and do the daggone reviews, and then I'm going to bed because I'm tired. All right. But thank y'all for being here. I think we had almost 300 people in the chat. If you could please hit that like button on your way out the door if you have not already. If you are not subscribed to the channel, if this is your first time here, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, y'all. It is free 99. All right. And if you are a regular here, thank y'all for being here. And for all my members, a special shout out to everybody that is lit up in green. That means that you are a member over here, and I appreciate you oh so much. Thank you again to all of the people that have purchased items off of my back to school wish list. For those who do not know, I am a teacher, and so I have posted my back to school wish list. I'm going to put the link in the chat again. And listen, think of a teacher. If you have a family member that's a teacher or educator, or there's a school in your neighborhood, drop off some supplies. Send them a cash app. I'm telling y'all, the beginning of the year is expensive. Yeah, Viola got a Grammy for her audiobook. I mean, Michelle Obama has a Grammy. Barack Obama has a Grammy. Whoopi Goldberg. Well, yeah, Whoopi Goldberg. Like a lot of people have Grammys for audiobooks, or like Grammys are for like comedy albums and all kinds of stuff. So a lot of these, when people do these books on tape, or book, they don't call them audibles now. They don't call them books on tape anymore. But they can be nominated for Grammys, and a lot of these people have won Grammys for stuff like that. Child, you know Jonathan be hating on Candy. Child, we just ignore it. We just gonna keep it moving. We just ignore it. Back to school, but whooping your arse. Me too, Melly. That's why I'm tired, baby. When I tell you I'm tired, I'm tired. But I did not skip the gym. I still went to the gym today, tired as I am. Right, Blue Ivy got a daggone Grammy, child. So it can happen. It can happen. And the Candy, if that's her goal, girl, do you? I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Do you, girl? All right, y'all. Let me get off of here. I love y'all and peace. Right, he just got done praying and now he hating on Candy, child.